Tashidelek and welcome to Tibet this week, where we bring you weekly news on Tibet, His Holiness the Dalai Lama and Central Tibetan Administration. Here are the top headlines from this week. His Holiness the Dalai Lama gave teachings in Northeast India. Dalai Lama Library and Archives open award gallery for public visit. Central Tibetan Administration commemorates 34th anniversary of Nobel Peace Prize conferment on His Holiness the Dalai Lama. Sikyong, Penpa, Tsering and Speaker Khenpo Sonam Tenphel attend 27th Himalayan Festival. Deputy Speaker leads Tibetan Parliamentary Delegation Advocacy in Delhi. European Union leaders raise Tibet at 24th EU-China Summit in Beijing. European Parliament adopts resolution on abduction and forced assimilation of Tibetan children. Kalon Norzin meets parliamentarians in Belgium and France. Representative Dr. Namgyal Choedup meets delegates from North American chapter of Flame of Hope. Third Maharashtra State Convention of India-Tibet Friendship Society held to commemorate 34th Nobel Peace Prize Day. On Tuesday this week, His Holiness the Dalai Lama gave a teaching on Geshe Tome Sangpo's 37 Practices of Bodhisattva Larlin Soduma at Peljo Stadium at the request of Sikkim state government. On the same day, His Holiness also virtually laid the foundation stone for the state government's Karmapa Park and Gelwa Lhazumpa statue project. The state government of Sikkim hosted a state banquet at Samman Bhavan in honor of His Holiness the Dalai Lama's visit to Sikkim before he departed for Salugara. On Thursday this week, His Holiness gave a general teaching followed by the ceremony for generation of Bodhicitta, Semke at Segu Monastery. His Holiness the Dalai Lama departed from his residence in Dharamshala for Sikkim and Salugara on Saturday last week. His Holiness the Dalai Lama arrived in Sikkim on Monday this week to a rousing welcome by the leadership of the Sikkim government and people of Sikkim, including the Tibetan community there. The Minister for Ecclesiastical Affairs of the Sikkim government, Venerable Sonam Lama, Shri Prem Singh Tamang, the Chief Minister of Sikkim, the Chief Secretary, Shri Vijay Bhushan Pathak, the Director General of Police, Shri Arminder Kumar Singh, and several senior ministers and officials, as well as Tibetan representatives from Gangtok, Darjeeling and Kalimpong, received His Holiness upon his arrival. After concluding the Northeast visit, His Holiness is scheduled to visit Bodh Gaya from 20 December 2023 to 1st January 2024 for engagements including an inauguration program, a prayer session, teachings and a long life offering ceremony. On December 10, the Dalai Lama Trust opened its award gallery dedicated to His Holiness the Dalai Lama to mark the occasion of the 34th anniversary of the Nobel Peace Prize conferment on His Holiness the Dalai Lama. This award gallery, established at the Dalai Lama Library and Archives, will now be open to the general public from time to time. Congress National Secretary and Himachal MLA Sudhir Sharma and former Kalon Tiba Professor Samdong Rinpoche jointly inaugurated the new gallery. While commending this launch, MLA Sharma said this museum containing lifelong achievements and award conferred on His Holiness the Dalai Lama will have paramount significance to the entire nation of India and not just Himachal Pradesh. Professor Samdong Rinpoche spoke about the background of the initiative and said it was to give access to the general public to visit and get acquainted with the timeless legacy of His Holiness the Dalai Lama. And Rinpoche also added that this center is a precious gift of wisdom and knowledge from His Holiness to the present and future generations. In addition to preserving religious teachings, sermons, and written materials, including gifts and awards received by His Holiness, the center also serves as a learning center for researchers and scholars to seek information and research materials. The Central Tibetan Administration celebrated the 34th anniversary of the conferment of the Nobel Peace Prize on His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama in the courtyard of Tekchin Chulin Tsuklakang, which saw the attendance of hundreds of people in Dharamshala. The Kashak and the Tibetan Parliament in exile in this statement extolled His Holiness the Dalai Lama's visionary leadership in practicing compassion and his lifelong commitment towards contribution and efforts in resolving conflicts and promoting human rights. Delivering the statement, Sikyong, Penpa, Tsering and Speaker Khenpo Sonam Tenphel noted that the day also marks the occasion of 75th Human Rights Day. The Tibetan leaders illuminated that the sole objective of the PRC in replacing Tibet with the term Xizang in the white paper is to wipe out Tibet from the world map, make Tibet fade away from the memories of people of the world, and subsequently assert its unfounded legitimacy. The event witnessed the felicitation of 3 staff who have extended 25 years of service toward community health care. The Tibetan Settlement Office Dharamshala was awarded the Target Achiever Award for achieving the target mark for Tibetan Medicare system registrants. The event also saw the launch of TIPA's Yarki musical series and a compilation of substitute glossaries on materia medica and Tibetan medical science. The event was interspersed with riveting cultural performances by the Tipa artists and school children from schools based in Dharamshala. Kalon Dolma from Department of Security Central Tibetan Administration attended the Gangtok Tibetan community's commemoration of the 34th anniversary of the conferment of the Nobel Peace Prize on His Holiness the Dalai Lama on the evening of 12 December at Cholkasum Hall. Kalon expressed her gratitude particularly to the Sikkim government under the chairmanship of the Honorable CM Prem Singh Tamang for arranging top-tier hospitality for His Holiness' visit. The day was celebrated in different parts of the world by the Tibetan communities in North America, Taiwan, Belgium, Swiss and Liechtenstein, and in Australia, marking the 75th anniversary of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. A special interfaith service titled Freedom, Equality and Justice for All was organized by the Reverend Bill Crews Foundation at Ashfield Uniting Church, Sydney on 10 December. The service was attended by representatives from various religious communities and organizations. Also on the same day, the Australian and New Zealand Alliance for Victims of Chinese Communist Regime organized a rally at Sydney Town Hall Square to condemn the tyranny of the Chinese Communist Party, and similarly the Tibetan community in Japan, along with Uyghurs, South Mongolians, Hong Kongers and other repressed communities around the world observed the 75th anniversary of Human Rights Day and a peace march in Shinjuku, Tokyo. Also on December 10, the Indo-Tibetan Friendship Association marked the 2-day 27th Himalayan Festival to commemorate the conferment of the Nobel Peace Prize on His Holiness the Dalai Lama at the auditorium of the Tibetan Institute of Performing Arts. Sikyong Penpa Tsering and the Speaker Khenpo Sonam Tenphel of the Central Tibetan Administration attended the official program of the festival as the guest of honor.
We are like family, and thank you very much for your generosity in the humanitarian support that you give, and of course we work at the central level for more political support, and I hope those will come through, because we know that whenever we reach out, till there is a solution with the Chinese, when we reach out to the international community, we know that international community will not leave aside their national interests for the interests of Tibet. But then when the interests of that country, for example, India, and the Tibetan interests meet, when it aligns together, then there are a lot of possibilities for things to be done.
Other distinguished guests were Sri Raghupir Singh Bali, MLA of Nagrota and Cabinet Rank Minister of Himachal Pradesh Tourism, as the chief guest, and Srimati Menu Sharma, Mayor of Dharamshala Municipal Corporation, as special guests. The festival was started in the year 1995 to commemorate the international recognition of His Holiness the Dalai Lama's peace initiative with the prestigious Nobel Peace Prize on 10 December 1989. On Wednesday this week, in alignment with the ongoing winter session of the Indian Parliament, a delegation from the Standing Committee of the Tibetan Parliament in Exile, led by Deputy Speaker Tsering and comprising MPs Tenpa Yarpel and Thanetsang Thundruptashi, commenced the Advocacy initiative in Delhi. They interacted with notable Indian dignitaries, including Chairperson Sri Iqbal Singh Lalpura, Vice Chairman Sri Karsikai Khushru Debu, and members Sri Tanya Kumar Jinnappa Dhund and Srimati Rinchen Lamo of the National Commission of Minorities within the Government of India, Sri Kiran Rijiju, Minister of Earth Science of India, Sri Vijay Samla, Chairman of the National Commission for Scheduled Caste, and several members of the Indian Parliament. This week, Kalon Norzin of the Department of Information and International Relations met with parliamentarians, ambassadors, Tibet supporters, and Tibetan community members in Belgium and France. Kalon met with Els van Hoof, chair of the Foreign Affairs Committee of the Belgian Federal Parliament, to pay her courtesy call to Van Hoof's stand for Tibet and her condemnation of the forced assimilation of Tibetan children in Chinese state-run boarding schools. Kalon had a meeting with Belgian government officials and members of the Tibet group in the French Senate. Kalon was warmly received by Representative Rinpoche Genka-led staff of the Office of Tibet Brussels and the representatives from various Tibetan community associations in Belgium, comprising Uzan Association, Chushikanto Association, Dome Association, Regional Tibetan Youth Congress, and Regional Tibetan Women's Association. On 7 December, the 24th EU-China Summit took place in Beijing, China, which was first in-person summit since 2019. During the joint press conference of the EU leaders following the summit, President Michel in his remarks said for the European Union, human rights and fundamental freedoms are universal and that they will never turn a blind eye to human rights cases. And they have assured that they have highlighted the cases of specific concerns such as the human rights violation in Tibet. President of the European Council Charles Michel and President of the European Commission Ursula von der Leyen, accompanied by High Representative Joseph Borrell representing the EU, met with Chinese President Xi Jinping and Premier Li Qiang. Representative Rinpoche Genka of the Office of Tibet Brussels welcomed President Michel's remarks at the end of the EU-China summit as a strong political signal and said such pronouncement manifests the importance the EU attaches to issues related to Tibet and that it continues to be high on their agenda. On Thursday this week, the European Parliament adopted with a large majority a resolution condemning the repressive forces' assimilation of Tibetan children in Chinese state-run boarding schools in Tibet. This resolution comes at the helm of a robust debate held late Wednesday by the European lawmakers. The resolution was adopted by 477 votes in favour, 14 against, with 45 abstentions. The resolution calls on the Chinese government for the immediate abolishment of the boarding school system in Tibet and urges the Council and member states to adopt targeted sanctions against Chinese officials for their involvement in the boarding schools. Representative Genga of the Office of Tibet, Brussels, welcomed the resolution and expressed appreciation to the European Parliament for the timely resolution on the forced assimilation of nearly 1 million Tibetan children in Chinese state-run boarding schools. The motion for the resolution was proposed by members of the European Parliament, Salima Yunpu from Renew Group, who was part of the European Parliament delegation visiting Dharamshala in March this year, and was supported by other political groups. On Saturday, 9 December, Representative Dr. Namgyal Choedup met with the North America chapter of Flame of Hope, Venerable Yuzan Toyoda, Director of Global Social Action, and Annie Buckman, U.S. Executive Director, a global peace organization that promotes the transformation of past sufferings into future peace. Representative Namgyal Choedup added his wishes and prayers to strengthen the power of flame from Office of Tibet, Washington, D.C. On Monday this week, the Embassy of Czech Republic in Washington, D.C. hosted its Human Rights Day breakfast at the residence of Czech ambassador. China's liaison officer Tsering on behalf of the Office of Tibet attended the event. Delegates from the Center for Free Cuba also attended the event. Czech Ambassador Miloslav Stastek recalled his memory of celebrating His Holiness' birthday at his residence when he served as the Czech ambassador to India. Tsering updated the current situation of Tibet to the ambassador and thanked him for extending the invitation and prioritizing human rights issues as an important part of their diplomacy. On December 10, Secretary Kama Chuing of the Department of Information and International Relations, Central Tibetan Administration, attended the 3rd Maharashtra State Convention of India-Tibet Friendship Society. The day-long Maharashtra States Convention of ITFS concluded with a unanimous declaration in support of the Tibet cause and action plans for Tibet advocacy at the state level by all the 17 district units and their members. The convention was held at Sri Babasaheb Ambedkar Memorial Convention Center in Batlapur, Maharashtra, under the chairmanship of Professor Dr. Anand Kumar, the national president of ITFS, and the state president Amrut Bansor. Around 100 members of state-level ITFS and 17 districts in Maharashtra attended the conference and the working committee meeting. The Joint Secretary of CTA's Department of Information and International Relations, Ngawan Thongme, was invited as a special guest to speak at the biannual meeting of Bharat-Tibet Samvanvay Sangh held in Tezpur, Assam on 9th December. That is all the news for this week's edition of Tibet This Week. Thank you for watching Tibettv.